Good evening, everybody. I'm back with Alex Pina again because he is just crushing the Pacific Northwest meta up here with Deathwatch. So you went to Rosehammer 3. It's been, what, 3 weeks now? I know this is a little late because...
Yeah, life gets in the way.
Exactly. But you smashed it. You brought a new list because the points went up for Terminator squads, but some cool new tech in there, and I want to talk to you about all your matchups. But before that, dude, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It is a good time to be a Deathwatch player.
Yeah.
And I'm having a ton of fun with them.
Awesome. So, that's very on point. But how are you, Alex?
Me, I'm good, man. The sun is starting to come out. You know, the vitamin D is coming from the sun and not the pills, so that's good.
That's true. Sometimes you feel like those photos from the 60s of the Russians in the Arctic where they're all standing around the UV lamp to get some vitamin D.
Yeah. Spiritually, I'm there.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I don't think anybody wants to hear our banter. They want to hear about Deathwatch. So let's go ahead and just leap straight into your new list.
Yeah.
And I actually closed my notepad program because I'm an idiot. But here we go. Ready, set, go. Let's see if it worked. It did. Okay.
Nice.
Beautiful. I didn't have to say anything, and then I would have looked professional, but
yeah.
I said something. So, all right, let's just take it from this top, and then if you want to throw in differences between your old list and the new list, because so just to give chat a little bit of background.
Definitely for those keeping track from the last video.
Exactly. Yeah. Terminator squads went up just 10 points each, but that 30 points is actually kind of hard to shoehorn in without dropping tome or something, which you're not going to do. But so this is actually kind of hard because Deathwatch is pretty elite for Space Marines. And so points are pretty crazy, but you managed to hit it exactly on the nose. So we'll take it away, sir.
Yeah, excited. I was ready for them to just absolutely get the nerf hammer because they won LVO. Historically, that means they're getting deleted from competitive 40K. But we looked and it was a crazy day. We got new detachments that we'll talk about later. Some armies got some love in, some armies got destroyed, and then Deathwatch players just looked around, accepted their 10-point nerf and said thank you. Come, we'll keep going, which was cool. Because my list ended up being 2,000 points, and I'll circle back on kind of my thoughts on the previous list and kind of some specific units. So big changes on this list, and something I don't think I'll go back to is the Judicar package.
Mm-hmm.
And this is maybe I can find a spot for it later, but I cut the 5-man, I cut the Rhino, and I cut the Judicar just completely out of the list. I took it to a teams event. I've done some specific kind of matchup testing, and it's really good when it's good. But when it's good, it is into matchups that you're already pretty good into, and it doesn't do a ton into shooting matchups or non-pressure matchups. It's good because you have the 2 activations with the second Rhino, but I ended up cutting that whole package for a unit of incursors and the 3rd Terminator squad. Which is, for me, it's still 2 activations, and the 3rd Terminator squad has been really, really good.
Yeah.
I know they just went up 10 points, and it's what's happening? But they should have gone up more.
They're
so good.
I don't want to say that because not like Games Workshop is gonna watch this stream, but I think everybody was surprised when they only went up 10. Folks expected them to go up probably 15-20 points for a 5-man.
Yeah.
And then it went up 10. So you still see 3 squads. I've been jumping in to help over on 40K Dirtbags to do some Deathwatch coaching for list building stuff. And I always say just start with 3 Terminator squads.
Yeah.
Figure your kill teams out later.
Yeah, plug and play.
Yeah.
You start with 190 times 3.
Yep.
And those, man, they're still so good. They're always going to be good. There's turns where they don't do a bunch, but they're always putting some amount of damage out in some form. And that's what you want to be doing, is just out damaging your opponent to the face for 3 or 4 turns. So I'll quickly go over the list and then I'll go over some more changes.
Okay.
The Tome Captain, he's not going anywhere. He is an all-star. Lieutenant with Combi Weapon, I can't cut him. I'm trying to find maybe a second one. He's just a great button presser, home objective sitter.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he's got stealth. He has lone op. Like, for 70 points, he can just run around and score points. All like, if anybody tries to come after him, he has like a reactive move. He's solid. And for 70 points, that's crazy. The only way he could get better is like if he got a 2-up like fucking rebirth or something, you know?
Yeah, what is that? The Blood Angels detachment has that, where he just gets back up, which is awesome. Angelic Inheritors.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But he also gives reroll 1s on a point, which is good. Always just like free lieutenant rerolls is great.
Yep.
And then the Watchmaster, I can't cut the 10-man yet. It's so good. I think it's actually really pivotal to the style of army. Having something, and this is almost like if I was coaching a Deathwatch player, I would almost write down the playbook like to the T and say, this is your move like 80% of games. If they give you anything to charge turn 1, you throw that unit at it, you delete it, and then you say, here is this huge threat that you have to answer in your deployment zone. So they have to answer, and then that buys real estate for the turn 2 drop. So that's never going anywhere for me.
How are you getting off a turn 1 charge into your enemy deployment zone? That's wild.
Well, ideally you're going second, but
well, sure.
If they don't respect, if it's like, I'll go for it, because if not, then I'm on the middle and that demands an answer just the same.
Okay.
But you get out 3 and the Watchmaster lets you advance in charge. So you're moving 9 plus D6, which turn 1, I'm usually just using his Watchmaster reroll. If it's not like a 1 or a 2 on the advance, I'll reroll it into like a 4 or 5, hopefully. And then you've got to charge. So if there's any like infiltrators, if there's any like skirmish units, you just delete those. You try and cut all of their little scoring units as fast as possible. Yep. So they have to put real threats out, and then you can answer them easier. Ideally, you're like playing against knights or something, and they put something really juicy, and you just delete that. But that unit is something I'm okay with trading down on just to get positioning advantage. Obviously, we love our Deathwatch Terminator units. I'm running 3 of those. And then 2 Indomitor bricks.
So actually, I do want to go back to your Terminators. Maybe we talked about this in our last stream too. But so when I interviewed Mark Hertel, for those who might not know, he won LVO with Deathwatch. He brought no storm shields, and I asked him about that, and he said he's like, sometimes those like the power fist pop off, and sometimes you just need a couple extra storm bolter shots, and he didn't think the added survivability of the storm shields was worth it. What do you think?
I think the efficiency that you get with the other power fists and storm bolters is lateral to the extra wounds. I think the extra wounds are really good. There's been so many times where someone like grenades me, or they're shooting like a forge fiend or something. It just dissuades 3 damage shooting. And then also like having one guy on one, demon princes, anything 3 damage, you just like, okay, I'm 7 terminators here. 2 damage is the same, but that's okay. The Thunderhammers, -1 to hit is a bummer, but like, I don't think it's too bad. And it's only 15 attacks total, so 6 of them being -1 to hit with dev wounds. It's like it's a trade-off, but for me, I don't think I'll ever leave without at least 2 Thunderhammer Storm Shields, just for the extra survivability. Which, if you have 1 or 2 guys still hanging out, they pick up, they drop, they do some scoring, or they harass another point later on. That's what you need, because you're so activation locked. You have like 11 units in this army or something.
It's true.
Any amount of wounds that you can get is enough for me.
Cool. I know Mark was talking about, like, if you're going into Aeldari, storm bolters feel real good. Ask me, because my other main army is Grey Knights. They all have storm bolters, right? Like, it feels really good. But like into Orks, storm bolters, you might as well not even shoot. Like, they're all T5. It sucks. Except Grotz, but like, so I always thought that was funny. But Mark also is like, he woke up, cracked his neck, and chose ultra violence. So like,
he hit the W button, just move as far forward and be on his face as possible.
So
all right, cool. It's funny, and we'll go over the elf matchup in a little bit.
Spoiler alert, that's right. Spoiler alert.
Um, but yeah, no, and it feels dirty just shooting cyclone missile launchers and storm bolters at like a fire dragon squad. Um,
Oh,
yeah, pretty funny.
you want some blast? I got blast for you.
Yeah, hey buddy, pick this up. Um, yeah, the other big things is I've cut the talent strike from my list for now. I've actually become completely all in on Indomitors. And I'll go
Oh yeah.
over why right now. So if I'm playing Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights, I have three guys with multi meltas, and three guys that have strength 10 power fist on the charge. And then I have four guys who do okay. I mean, sus lethal bolters are really good, but the wounds that I can pull off are the bolter guys first. Now, conversely, if I'm playing Eldar, then the Melta guys are basically useless, so I can pull that off. And all I'm saying is that the Indomitor kill team has ablative wounds that are toolboxy in what you need to pull off.
Yeah.
So
They have
it's just
they have matchup dependent ablative wounds.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know who's dying first, and if you're a smart player, you can kind of make sure your unit's blobbed in the correct way. Talent Strike doesn't have that. Talent Strike is very uniform in its damage output, and the ablative wounds aren't as good as the other ablative wounds because they're T4 2 wounds as opposed to T6 3 wounds. And I mean, they're slightly faster, don't get me wrong, but the data sheet's entire thing is to be up and down every turn. And to get maximum success with them, they almost always want to be in lethals because they have sus 2. So you have to spend the CP to keep them back in lethals. And they want to have the +6 inch range. Otherwise, you're like 18 inches away, which is a little bit too danger close for me. And you're competing with the Indomitor brick who wants to also have that.
Yeah.
So, and they're more expensive.
Those are fair points. Yeah.
They're 20 points more.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of the talent strike when it landed. No pun intended there. Because I was always just like, why don't you just bring another Indom team? Like, you're just bringing it for the shooting. Like, yeah, maybe the movement matters in some, but like, really, you're usually grabbing your kill teams, picking them up, dropping them. They shoot, hopefully charge something, but they're 9 inches away, so who knows?
Yeah.
And then, like, you do that again. And then you start like charging onto like objectives and stuff. At least the way I play.
No, 100%. It's funny how often I will like people will be playing in the middle of the board and my Indomitor kill team is like 16 inches away. So it's like an 11 so I'm just picking them up and dropping them for like 2 inches of extra movement.
Yep.
But it's good because sometimes you just bomb those 9s and then it's like cool, this sucks for you because I get to kill a free unit.
Yeah, it's so many power fists at that point.
Exactly. With twin linked means that you don't want to charge them either, because sure you want to charge the talent strike so they don't get picked back up, but if you charge the Indom, there's a good chance you lose a good chunk or the entire thing.
Yeah.
Which is
because you'll pull you'll pull your matchup dependent ablative wounds first. And then your like aggressors are gonna get to punch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it turns out strength 6, when you're like overwatching with that unit, strength 6 twin linked flamers are really good.
I'm really glad that you were gonna that was actually a question in chat was so you and Mark both love Flamestorm. Mm-hmm. I've been running Boltstorm just to try them out. Sure. I haven't played enough games where I really care one way or the other yet. Yeah. But there's definitely like I play Grey Knights. We have strength 6 -1 AP flamers, and people are always like, "They're strength 6 flamers." I'm like, "Yeah, buddy. Like this is their standard profile. Has been this way since 8th edition, basically." Like, and so to have strength 6 flamers, but 6 of them.
yeah. D6 +1 is because rolling the Indomitor brick is you're able to do it fast, but you're like, opponent, you have to trust me. Yeah. In this moment, look through my data sheet and just like, because I'm like 3d6, okay, 10, which means 13. These are twin linked. These aren't twin linked. You just kind of have to like Yeah, it's
It
exhausting.
it does feel bad because so let's actually go through this. So 2 heavy bolters, Deathwatch heavy bolters. So they're
Yes.
AP 2 3 damage, not AP 1 1 damage or 2 damage. And then there's 2 Deathwatch bolt rifles.
Yep.
Or heavy bolt
And don't
rifles,
forget,
which are strength
the
7.
bolters. The bolters are sus, lethal, assault, heavy built in.
Yeah, built in.
And and then the other ones are lethal built in, and then you gotta work for the sus. Yeah, and then you can keep going. There's the 3 flamer guys.
So then there's 3, so 2, so 66 flamers, right?
I think it's 3d6.
Is it? Yeah,
yeah 10th ed stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't used them yet, so I don't actually know the flamer profile. But and then you have a multi-melta and 2 melta rifles after that, and they're just like, excuse me, like how many how many weapon profiles is that? And you're just like, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something.
You say too many. It's too many. I'm sorry.
And then if you're Bolt Storm, it's 3 shots per aggressor, twin linked, and then they have the blast grenade launchers. Yeah, it's a lot of shots.
See, that's where I draw the line. No, I've tested with that the frag storm and the bolt storm stuff, and in my insight, the AP1 strat that you're using a lot on those kill teams is wasted if they're in cover. It just goes back to AP0, but ignoring cover baseline on the flamer means that you're wounding like most tanks on 3s or 4s, or infantry on 4s, and overwatching is a lot stronger too, because you're automatically hitting with on average 13 shots.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yeah, I mean just like 1 or 2 flamers will make like a Drukhari person be like, do I want to charge that? Yep. Like, do I want to just lose my most forward incubi? Do I? It's like, I don't know, man. Do you? Like, I'll roll those dice every time.
Yeah, the amount of times it's whatever number of shots I got is the amount of things I convert is very high.
Yeah.
One more nail in the coffin for the bolters before we move on is that the Terminators exist already in that role, where if you're like trying to hand someone like 30 bolter shots, Terminators do a really good job of that. I mean, it's good to have overlap, but for me, I found that if I'm shooting something like that, I don't want to shoot the Indom at it. But
yeah,
each their own. I could see both being.
No, I like it. I mean, it's strength 6 bolters either way, right? Like, yes, it is minus, or it is 0 AP, and you're right. Ignores cover from the flamer means like with the AP1 strat, like you're definitely handing them strength 6 -1, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's just wild because like it's like what you said, like you're telling your opponent, hey man, I'm gonna roll some wild profiles at you and you're just gonna have to believe me. Oh, you had 4 shots at strength 7 -3 2 damage because you have Deathwatch heavy bolters and a +1 AP strat. Like, yeah, I have -3 AP bolters.
I have AP5 melta.
Yeah. AP5 melta, strength 11.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Armature, you're going to die now.
Yeah.
I always tell my opponents the unit is a aggressor unit, eradicator unit, and then 4 friends, and they're just like, sure, whatever. And then I start rolling, and they're like, oh my god. There's a lot of that too. If you play Deathwatch, expect for your opponent to be like, you only have 9 inches, right? And you're like, yes. And then they feel safe, and that's incorrect because you just drop, shoot, then you pick up, drop closer,
Yeah, you just
and then they just
it's like teleporting up the board.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's awesome. It is a great feeling. And then they just won't respect your damage output. If you've never played against Deathwatch, they will. It's like Tau. So it's like they'll leave blow or whatever they want. So you have to be okay with either playing the trading game isn't going to work, so they'll just table everything, or just showing your whole army, which I think is kind of better. But only some armies can do that. If you play like elves, you're just going to get tabled. But it's cool. Just know that if you're on the other end.
Yeah, I played into Votan the other day, and an Indom team, not including the Meltas, easily picked up in cover with the +1 AP strat. Easily picked up an entire unit of 6 Votan bikes. Like, just like it
Yeah,
wasn't even close. I way overkilled it. I'm like, ugh. And then my Meltzes did nothing into a Sagittarius because that's how it goes.
Yeah,
But like,
Meltas are fickle.
yeah, it was crazy. I was like, holy shit! Like, I just killed so many bikes.
Yeah, you're like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
It is crazy, and once you start being like, it's dangerous, but if you do like the math correctly and you kill like 2 or 3 units with like 1 activation, it feels awesome. Like if the flamers hit the, the scorpions and the bolters hit the banshees and the meltas hit the wave serpent, you just clear all 3 of those. You're like, awesome, keep
yeah,
going, like bring me
yeah,
more. But
yeah. You're like, that was 240 points or 270 points well spent with like 1 strat. Like, I'll take that. And then it was done on a captain who did it for free anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm down nothing, and you're it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on though, just to round out with the infiltrators, I still don't leave home without them. It's just cool to have a unit you could park on a point and just be like, this is probably mine. And then incursors are cool because you shoot at something.
I did want to talk to you about this. I've been talking to a number of people and myself too. It's like you build a list, it has the tools you want, and then you're like, what do I do with like 90 points?
Yeah.
And you're like, I guess I'll put intercessors in there, but no, intercessors kind of suck. You're like, I don't need sticky, I have infiltrators, and then it's like, I saw you pick incursors. I'm like, of course, like they're the same price as intercessors. So, and they give +1 to your whole army gets +1 to hit whatever they hit, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And they just have to hit. They don't have to wound. So like, if there's a Dorn commander sticking his ass out like where it's not supposed to be, now 2 Indom teams land with like +1 to hit and then +1 to wound.
And they have assault and scout. So you can get those angles. And they're 80 points. It's a really interesting conversation piece where it's like for 80 points you can get intercessors or incursors or reavers, or an ATV and 20 points, 10 points more, you've got a jump back cannon.
And ATP and 20 points.
So
I
much
like
in
that.
the Space Marine Codex. Yeah, exactly. There's so much in the Space Marine Codex that is kind of whatever you need or whatever you feel. But for me, incursors, I think if you don't know, just take those. They do a little bit of everything. And they're cheap enough that if you just need to go get air denial turn 1, you can do that. And don't feel super bad about it.
Yeah.
I will say it was surprising how often I didn't use the incursor +1 to hit, just because I kept playing against armies with like so many different units that
MSU or something.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more too. Yep. And then last but not least, go for it.
So there's a question in chat. There's some discussion about the Fortis kill team. I think we talked about this on the last stream as well, and I talked about it with Mark because people are always asking like, well, what about the Spectres team? Like, what about the Fortis team? I'm just gonna let you take it away. What do you think about the Fortis team in general?
I know some people have gotten really good results with it. For me, when I compare the Fortis to the Indom, I know they don't do the same thing, but T4 2 wounds versus T6 3 wounds, like there are some armies where you can just deploy your Indom on the table and walk at them, and then they'll slowly die. You can't do that with the Fortis kill team. I know that the indirect version, the aspect of the Fortis is really nice for like early turn kind of KG playstyle, but it's my opinion that Deathwatch doesn't play that KG game that well. You want to be tabling your opponent as fast as possible. And it's kind of a cute unit. I could see it being good. You've got the plasma, but I find that you want to super duper overcharge 1 unit or 2 units with your strats, and I don't think the output of the Fortis is worth it. OC2 is also cute, but anything that like has dedicated anti-infantry will just delete the unit. So you don't want a 200-point trading piece. It's the same thing with the Spectres. Like it's they're both very cool units. I'm sure some people have them as like sleeper units, but for me, I want people to have to use multiple activations and multiple resources. to trade. Like if 8-bound get into the Fortis kill team, that kill team is basically dead. Like
Yeah. Well, I mean, 8-bound get into most infantry.
Sure, but with the Indom, you have so many ablative wounds that it's like you're way less. You're scared, but you can punch through out of that. And a lot of times, like the Twin Link Power Fist will just get you through that. But the Fortis and a lot of kill teams in general, just when they get tagged by anything, they just stop. They stop existing.
Yeah. So I'll give my opinion just really, really quickly. The Fortis kill team is too expensive. If it was like 150, 160, maybe we could like have a discussion. Its Fortis doctrines are better than it was in our old index, but it's still, so it's each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets a unit that is below starting strength, add 1 to the hit roll. If it targets a unit that's below half strength, add 1 to the hit roll and 1 to the wound roll. Honestly, if this thing was going to stay 200 points, I would want to see that reversed, where it's like if it's at full strength, you get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. And then it actually gets worse as like their target gets weaker, but because now you can use it as like a power play unit. You throw it up, you lose it, maybe it kills one like big threat, and you're trading with it. But as it is right now, it's like it gets stronger the weaker the target it's shooting at gets.
Yeah.
Which I think is awkward.
It's
that's
a
weird to play.
Machine, I guess. But
yeah.
How often is a Indom kill team leaving something alive? Like it happens, like into like Rogaldorns or whatever, and +1 to wound is nice, but like that's why the Thunderstrike exists. Like
yeah,
the
exactly.
Indomitor is not gonna have. We have an anti-infantry 2-up strat. We don't need help wounding infantry.
No.
So like I guess mounted maybe, but then
yeah,
the Indomitor.
Mounted,
the Indomitor just has more output to deal with that stuff, anyways.
Yeah, and then
kudos.
Oh,
go for it.
No, I wanted to go to the Spectres team, but if you're not done with the Fortis team,
no, I'm done. I'm just saying, good for you if you get success out of it, but it's not something I'm interested in testing right now.
Yeah, and like going back quickly to the start of 10th, like the Desolator Marines, when Deathwatch could bring 30 of those guys, and 2 of those teams were getting anti-infantry 2+ with like indirect, and it was disgusting and stupid, and I'm glad that they got rid of it. I never ran them because I hate the model.
Yeah, Nerf guns.
Yeah, it's straight up Nerf guns. But so the Spectres team I think is really cool, and I might play them, but you have to bring a 10-man. If you could bring the 10-man for 5, or if you could bring a 5-man for 100 points instead of a 10-man for 200, the fact that they get Spectres doctrines is actually like awesome. It's basically like having a Calidus. It's just if they're not in engagement range and they're further than like 6 inches away, then they just get to put back into strategic reserves. That's really cool. That's like scouts, right? Like you're just using them as scouts, but they're a kill team. Yeah.
I think I agree with you. It's ironic that even if you could take them in 5-mans, I'd almost consider taking 2.
Right.
But
isn't that funny?
It's like, but they're so like I've seen people do well with them, and they have a lot of play to them. I think they're a very high skill expression unit. But for me, with my player philosophy, that's not how I approach Deathwatch. And if I want something like that, there are better armies out there. There are better Space Marine detachments out there.
Yeah. I've always wanted to see Deathwatch played in Firestorm. I don't think it's good, but I think it would be really fun to just assault and shoot everything all the time.
It'd be so cool. It honestly might not be bad, but it's just like it's such a well-oiled machine in Black Spear that it's like, okay, we know what's happening. It's groovy. I will say one more thing before we move on with the Fortis. If you're playing on WTC and you can get plunging fire and anti-infantry, that's good. But for me, I just don't want to jump through so many hoops to do damage that the Indom can just do. But finally, wrapping up the list, we have the Thunderstrike, Humble Thunderstrike, which is continuously doing more damage than I think it will every time it activates. It is learning. It is learning to shoot and wound and damage these beasts.
Yeah, if Lord Stash is one of the guys that I'm like coaching, and I think he might be in chat. And if he is, He keeps trying to tell me he's gonna dump the Thunderstrike, and I keep telling him not to dump the Thunderstrike.
No, it's so good. It moves 14 as OC3. If it's not good in the matchup, just rapid ingress it and then steal primary. Like rapid ingress it, go to their objective that they randomly have, and then charge and tank shock, or just shoot things. Like it's 150 points. You have to get kind of creative with it, but it's never bad. It's,
yeah, or like
last can. I mean,
even if it doesn't shoot anything, it's gonna run around and score you like behind enemy lines, or you know, like
containment.
Containment, or is containment the one in the corners? I always have to look that one up.
Yeah, it's on the board edges.
Okay, that's right. And then what's the one in the corners specifically?
I don't know if there's one anymore. There was one.
Okay, there was one. All right. This I'm sorry.
There was.
I'm a new father, so I'm confusing all of my like Knockman versus Brian Nexus versus
It can sabotage. It can,
it can
recover assets.
Yeah. They can do
like
all
turn
that
6,
stuff.
If it's still, or turn 5 if it's still alive, and it's like I'm in your opponent's DZ and I'm just scoring you 6 points for free.
And it's got fly, so it can't be move blocked. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. And 150 points is a lot for a scoring unit, but like what you're saying is I'm bringing this to make it easier to kill like Rogel Dorn commanders.
Yeah.
But if I'm just facing like, Gene Stealer Cult Infantry Swarm, then hey, at least it gets to fly around and still do something.
Or it tags a unit you don't want to move. Like
it's true.
Because it's 11 wounds. It's like more tough than a Rhino, and it's so it's Deathwatch in general, like when you understand that every unit is a toolbox and that you have to really thread the needle versus like army to army.
I love you.
Yeah.
Like so I pulled up Wikipedia, like when you said it's tougher than a Rhino, because I'm like, that can't be right.
Yeah. Like
that can't be right. And I looked up, it's faster and tough, just slightly tougher than a Rhino. It is one more wound.
Yeah.
But like, imagine if you're ever like, I want a flying 14-inch moving Rhino. Guess what?
Yep.
They just move block something, or like jam, like deal with this, right?
Yeah.
Even if you know it's gonna die that turn, that's stuff that's not like shooting or charging the rest of your army.
Exactly. Like your opponent's really good shooting units. Like if it can't fall back and shoot, like Rubric Marines, they hate that. Like there's so many units that are good at shooting that can't fall back and shoot, and you're just like, okay, don't need to kill this turn, I'll neutralize it. And then if they fall back and don't kill it, you just get to do it again. And that's just one more thing that you can keep playing, the game without losing resources or allocating activations into.
Yeah. So JP's in chat and said, and for 150, it's actually 50 points less than a Spectrus kill team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like really, it's win-win. What do you think about it?
Yeah, flip the points. No, make that list. Yeah, that's the list. I have some thoughts on maybe some potential changes, but we can talk about that after we go through the rounds, how the tournament broke out.
No, let's talk about that now. I seem like from my metrics, some folks kind of like they stay for the whole thing, and some kind of just queue in for the list. So let's talk about how you might, like, that's a standard question of mine, is like, actually, how would you change this list? So like, how would you change this list, friendo?
Yeah, I think the Reiver squad might be better than the Incursor squad, just because there was a lot of times where it's like my shitter Incursor squad was staring at your shitter unit, and we were just kind of like hoping one person lived and then stood on the middle while the rest of the fight went on. And the Reiver squad is really good at saying, this is actually my objective, because they have the 3-inch aura of your -1 OC. When you're in combat with them, you're -1, and they have a good amount of attacks. I want to test it. I think it is slightly better than Incursors, but if the meta shifts and we get into more like big units or tank spam, then I could see the Incursors be good.
I actually didn't realize the combat knives have precision, which is kind of neat.
It's cool.
And they're 4 attacks each, so like if you're fighting like Necrons, right? You could get these guys in, and if they just kill the leader and then die on the clapback, but you're kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
Because like if you can get them in on like a wraith squad, kill the technomancer, they get killed like eaten alive by the wraiths on the clapback. But then like, guess what? Those wraiths are a lot easier to kill now.
Yeah.
Like way easier to kill. So it's kind of like, you know.
And and if
That's
they live,
fascinating.
then those wraiths are OC1. Like depending on how you pile in, and they have to take a battle shock test, which means can't use any defensive strats on them. Like if you're playing Awakened Dynasty and you kill the character, you can't res it. Like it's so good.
I want you to drive over here and slap me because I think we're talking about Reavers being good, and I've been playing for 3 editions and they've never been good.
Reavers and Outriders, the day before they buffed them, I was telling a new player, don't worry about it. They're both dog shit units. You'll never play them ever. And the next day I had a
dumb helmets.
And they're stinky. And they have, if I remember correctly, they have the smoke keyword, which actually came up to me. Like
they do. Oh my god! And JP just like mentioned they have precision on all their ranged weapons too, so you can even be in combat and shoot precision pistols.
Yeah, just all the way through the unit. It's great. I want to test it. I could see it being really good. It just being like, this is my point.
Yeah, man. Like the only thing I wish they had in Deathwatch specifically was, because like coming from our old index or 9th, like if you put it into a Deathwatch army, they could use all the like teleportarium strats. They could use like Brotherhood or what was it called? Like Brotherhood of Veterans. They were pretty much they became like supercharged because they had kill team keyword and stuff. Don't quote me on that, but basically like the whole army was Deathwatch, but now like they don't get mission tactics, which kind of sucks. No, but neither do the incursors. So
yeah, exactly. And the damage output for Reavers I think is just a little bit higher. So I want to test that. I think that every 40k army needs to have a unit that can hit the middle of the battlefield turn 1 just to do actions, and the Reiver unit I think might do that for me.
I mean, they do get deep strike too, just naturally, which is kind of funny.
You can pick, you can if you play against the mission where you pick up 250 points, you can do that, or you can uppy downy a Reiver squad turn 1, if you want to. But
yeah, I mean that.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I can't think of a single time you want to do that. Also, the grapnel launcher is kind of funny because you ignore vertical distance. There's not a lot of vertical gameplay. At least in the Pacific Northwest, I think a lot of the TOs have decided like we're gonna use standardized terrain that has no like second story and stuff like that. So, but I could see that being cheeky. You get on like a rooftop, score behind enemy lines, lose the whole unit the next turn in shooting. But like 80 points, like it's hard. So going back to what I was saying earlier, like when we started. When you're building a list, it's hard for Deathwatch, and it's the same with Grey Knights too, because they're so elite. Like finding trading pieces is kind of hard because you don't want to trade an Indom team unless you're trading for something big.
Yeah, like you need to get your flesh.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you put an Indom team out and get like the Rogel Dorton Commander and a Lehman Russ, you feel pretty good. But if you if you kill the 90 point infiltrating Votan unit and then you get crushed, you feel terrible, right? Like that's not a good trade. Yeah. So Isaac is asking, what do you think about adding a hammer strike? Do you mean, I think I know who Isaac is. Do you mean in addition to the Thunderstrike, or do you mean instead of the Thunderstrike?
I will say, even if depending on the list, it's 25 points cheaper, so you could do the hammer strike and then give your Watchmaster the Thief of Secrets. But I think we have access to a strat that says ignore cover, and I don't think we need multiple units shooting at the same thing to ignore cover. But we don't have a strat for +1 to wound vehicles or monsters. I mean, anti-monster 5-up, but I mean that's not.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, and so I think the Thunderstrike answers that problem in a way that the Hammer Strike doesn't. I think the Hammer Strike is great in other Space Marine detachments, but I think that since we're not Ultramarines, we're not one of those Codex compliant ones that gets the +1 to wound. This is kind of our Band-Aid fix.
Yeah,
and I want to also say, to elaborate what you said about trading, something I think a lot of Deathwatch players, and maybe everyone knows this, but it is sometimes okay to trade an important unit if you can guarantee that their important unit is mispositioned. Like if you can teleport your Indomitor team in the corner of their DZ so that they have to answer it by putting their units into the corner of their DZ, then you've bought yourself like 2 or 3 turns of that unit not doing anything, and you've effectively neutralized one of their like bigger pieces. I'm not saying always trade down, but I'm saying like that is something you can do, and it's something that I've found success in if there's no easy way to do that. But again, that might be it.
I want to sing the praises of the Thunderstrike a little bit more as well.
Yeah,
because, and this might come up later, but Rogel Dorn commanders are everywhere now. When they got their codex, they added this whole data sheet. Like Rogel Dorns are already in every mechanized Astra Militarum list you could possibly think of. Now they are definitely in every mechanized Astra Militarum like detachment you could possibly think of, but now instead of being a normal Rogel Dorn, they're a Rogel Dorn commander. This T12, our Melta on the Indom is T11 now, if this is the closest target. So you're gonna wound this mofo on 5s. Yeah. We don't get a whole lot of reroll wounds, so having your Thunderstrike clap this mofo, even with one little Stormbolter hit or whatever its smallest gun is, I don't remember. It's probably an Iron Hail Heavy Stubber or some stupid shit, but yeah. Like that now.
Some tactical.
Yeah, that now brings you from wounding on 5s to 4s, and that's 16% more wounds going through because we don't have access to a lot of like unless for some reason this guy's also in the middle objective that you got reroll ones from the lieutenant on, but like I'm saying that's a 16% increase in wounds, and that's the difference between a dead Dorn commander and an alive Dorn commander. Yep. And not only when you kill this thing, like not only are you removing 265 points of a whole bunch of awful weaponry from the board, it now also can't buff all of its other tanks.
Yep, it can't give orders anymore.
So killing this thing is like huge. And it's kind of my go-to example now. There's a ton of other good ones too, but like this is my go-to example like right now of why the Dorn commander is really good. Or you know, is the Avatar of Cain still really popular?
No.
Okay. Because I was gonna say I know it gets like -1 to wound usually from like an autark or something, and it's
that was in the index.
Yeah. Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So I mean, in that case, if some idiot brings out and like Avatar of Cain, he's T11. Now instead of like wounding him on 4s, you're gonna wound him on 3s, and he's still very expensive. So there's a lot of examples of Yeah,
if you're playing War Dog spam, you can shoot your las cannons at 1 dog and the anti-fly guy at another dog. Las cannons are going to deal some amount of damage. The Icarus probably not. But now your Meltas are wounding this stupid dog on 2s. So you can shoot the Meltas at 1 dog and shoot your whole unit at another one. And now you're cooking with fire. You've probably killed 2 dogs with 1 activation. Between the Thunderstrike and the Indom.
Right.
And so you can use that to get kind of greedy with it and to honestly just like really push, because they only have like 13, 14 models in that army.
Yeah,
so and then pull 2 and then demand an answer.
And then another Indom is like killing 1 more. You know?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah.
Maybe it's like charging another and punching it to death.
Like, exactly.
Yeah. And when they have 13 War Dogs.
No, dude, when I played at the team event, I was killing 4 War Dogs a turn from like turn 1.
4?
And it was nuts because it would be like Terminator, Thunderstrike, Indom, and then like another Indom and like the 2 more Terminators. Like you were just like and also the vets were like the 10-man vet squad just like kept one tapping them.
Okay. I mean that makes sense.
You were really pushing it through, and then they'll take their pound of flesh. But yeah, Knights is drawish if they're really cagey, but if they're aggressive, you can just like pretty quickly punish that. But
Zach, what are you doing here? I thought you were doing your own video, man.
Zach wants to hear me talk about our round 1.
Oh yeah, actually that's an excellent time to show up, Zach. I will answer Damn Legion's question though. What about T13 Tyrants? It's the same math into a Rogaldorn. It's the exact same math. You're still wounding on 5s, but now you're wounding on 4s. That's 16% more wounds, like going through. You don't have a lot of shots with the multi-melta and the meltas, so like if you can get one more wound through, that's the difference between maybe killing a tyrant or at least bracketing it versus like it shrugging everything off and laughing at you and then eating your Indom team. So
yeah, counterpoint, you can't fool me. I'm not shooting at the tyrant. I'm going to shoot at everything else.
Fair enough.
Just be like water wherever it's not. That's a lot of things to shoot.
Yeah. All right. Actually, so Zach just got here. So Zach Coddington, who's been on my show before, is in chat right now. He was Alex's round 1 opponent, so I can't think of a better time to switch into your round.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Round 1, and I was like, this is a world of Dakka and Ynnead. Just a scary meta, and Deathwatch, thankfully they're aliens, and so we spiritually have that in the bag. But it's scary. It is just like they're very strong armies. And round 1, I was like, I hope I get kind of a softball. And I got paired into Zach on Dakka. So from deployment, I was like, all right, this is one of those tournaments. It's all right. We'll rally from the end. And it was good to get kind of like to see how that army works. It is scary, and I don't think it's okay. And I think it will hopefully get answered. I don't know. Like, it didn't do well this weekend because one person kept like destroying them at Adepticon, but
I'll talk to that just very briefly. I saw just before we went live that Glasshammer Gaming, run by Manny Chima, the meta chaser of meta chasers on the planet, his GT that's going to run in 2 weeks, I think, has banned Dakka. And the person who made the announcement was Manny Chima.
Yeah. No,
and
it's bad.
And he explained, like, I am the guy that plays the most meta army on the planet to break things as much as possible. And he's like, this is not okay.
Yeah. There's several GTs are just not allowing it.
Dakka is good. That's great, Zach. I fucking like that.
New username unlocked. I don't have Zach's list in front of me, but Dakka lists are gonna be a variation of Luda's, Flash Tank Busters, with the 20-man Gretchen unit with Zodgrod, and then some amount of melee. Usually you're like 4 trucks. And it's insane how much they can bring. Like, trucks are like 65 points or something. They're criminal. And it was really scary. I mean, our game was really, really close until the very end. I went first, which I didn't want to do, but it was Scorched Earth, so I was like, okay, we have to retain some amount of primary, which I didn't even get to because the Zogrod unit does what it does, which is advance and charge and has 12-inch movement and has 20 dudes. You just have to accept it. But I get to advance and charge the vets, and he had a battle wagon, which I thought was really cool. And I think 2 or 3 trucks. I got to advance and charge and kill 1 truck with melee. The Terminators I deployed just aggressively enough that I could advance them, and I got line of sight into another truck, so I got to shoot that one. I think I double oath turn 1 just to try and demech them as fast as possible.
Yeah. If you can get them out of their trucks, they're a little less scary.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was that, and then he gets out of his trucks and just deletes the veteran unit, which I knew was going to happen. I also charged the incursors into the battle wagon to kind of move block that kind of him advancing me. His Zodgrod unit still gets to advance and charge and take my home objective.
Jesus.
No, it's insane. We were scrapping from the start. He pulls.
What was the deployment? Was this long edge?
It was corners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, still, I mean, that's
I mean, they get to scout and then they get 12 plus advance and charge. So it's like even 12 with advance and charge is
Like that's like
statistically.
world eaters, but they don't have any shooting.
Oh yeah, no. Well, for one
Like,
CP,
but
you
Dakka
can just
Dakka has
put
both.
yeah. Well, Dakka Dog, yeah, exactly. It's nuts. It's crazy if they just spike their sixes, they just delete whatever they like a 5-man flash kit point. Like if you dare to be on an objective, they will just delete your whole unit.
Well, yeah,
Um,
flash kits have been niche good the whole edition, and
yeah,
I think only people playing Dread Mob have figured that out because
yeah,
they get even dumber. No, because in Dakka, so as I understand it, in Dakka, the flash kits don't get like the sustain 2 in Overwatch, but
yeah,
in Dread Mob they can overcharge in Overwatch still, and it just gets wild. Oh, that's
yeah.
Luda's. I'm sorry,
Oh, that's
that's
what we meant.
Luda's.
Sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
orc. I'm orc racist or whatever. I don't know.
They all look the same.
Yeah, they're all just shooting fucking nails and car parts at me, and I'm just dying. But yeah, it is the Ludas. But it was. I think it was really close. We scrapped really hard. I mean, I scored 18 secondary. He scored 13. We were just like, that's not what's happening this game. We're just tabling each other. The
Oh
Terminator squad
man.
with anti-infantry 2-up is really good at cleaning up the Gretchen squad. Because you have blast, so you have a ton of Dakka into that. I got 2 at the end of the. It was really close. We basically kept fighting from. I was defending my natural expansion. He was defending his, and we're both pushing on each other's. Oh, War Boss could not. For some reason, he decided not to kill the Thunderstrike for like 2 or 3 turns. But then he makes it all up. He draws behind enemy lines, and he's like, well, I need to, and he's trying to deny my home field. So this War Boss decides he's going to advance 6 inches and charge 12 inches on the dice. So this man goes as far as physically allowed, and is just wrecking my home field. But he whiffs, and he doesn't kill the 5 infiltrators standing on it, and so I get to have that primary that turn. But he tried, and I made him roll 1 dice at a time because I knew it was going to happen. I felt it was already foretold, so I was like, roll a 6, roll another 6, and we both freaked out. It was great. It was one of the best moments of the whole tournament. But it was good. It was super close. I think I got to just push a little bit harder, and my go turns, I think were just like a little bit easier to delete certain units and kind of thread the needle of scorched earth. I kept denying his primary too, so it was good.
Yeah, Zach's a good player. I think when he and I started playing in ninth, I think I took the first like 14 or 15 games off of him. But then I became a dad and he kept playing like some of the best players in the Pacific Northwest, and it turns out he's real good now. Like he's real good.
No, he put the fear of God in me. I kept telling the TOs, I was like, I'm dead. This sucks the whole time. Which I hate. I hate being that opponent who's like, boo-hoo me. But I think Zach, you went on to go win every other game that you played, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think Zach. Oh man, I wish he was on the stream now. But if I remember right, he's messaging the NoobHammer Discord, which you should all join, by the way. And he's messaging us in the middle. He's like, I went out for smoke break. I went to my car. I locked my keys in the car. I called AAA to come like locksmith my way out of here, but I got 15 minutes and then I'm late for my next match. I was like, Zach, come on.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I think it worked out. I think he got it, which who hasn't been there?
Yeah, like right. And I was like, Zach, that's one more reason you should quit smoking, dude. Like, you can't lock your keys in your car if you're not out there trying to smoke, right? Like,
yeah, if you're just hanging out.
He's going off in chat right now too.
Yeah.
Oh, gold. I wish that you were on the stream, dude. Sorry, but so at least it was a fun first match, right? Like Zach's a great opponent, so
I had a lot of fun, and we had never played at a tournament or at all, so it was really nice to have that opportunity. And it was actually, this was one of the first GTs where I knew every single person I played.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because you said that he didn't have to smoke you into shit.
Oh, bummer, dude. Yeah, I can see how you'd forget some things.
Oh,
You're
I
not
would
working off
too,
a
dude.
brain. Yeah, the cola knocks hard, dude.
Oh man, that's cold. I'm actually crying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gosh.
okay. I'm glad Zach
Yeah.
isn't on here now because we'd all just be. It'd be like
Derail.
it'd be 45 seconds of us just giggling. Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it was good. No, it's all good.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed playing Zach. We had a great game, and it was one of those really close games until like the very end, which was really nice.
yeah.
Um,
Oh.
but then I eke it out, 68-48. Really low scoring, but
Yeah, I was watching you and Daniel Midland because he plays the Grey Knights. I was watching you guys a lot during this, like just like at Rose City Rampage, and I was surprised. I was like, I know you're fighting Zach, but like 68 that seems.
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's good, man.
yeah,
It's
I got the burn things and he didn't. I think that's what helped.
Oh, okay.
We were both fucking tabled. I think I remember like I had like maybe 2 or 3 units, but I got to like one of the earlier turns I got to line up this like across the court bead on his home field Gretchen unit. And I was like, I'm just gonna delete that so you have to pull resources that way. And then I got to go back there. But it was either that or around yeah, something like that. It's like I said, it's been about 2 weeks, but
Yeah, sorry.
no, it's good. No, I mean
I tried to do these quickly, but like, ugh.
yeah, they don't know. No, it was last week. Don't worry. Yeah, it was. So that was it, and I was like, okay, cool. Well, I probably won't have to play another crazy meta army now.
Yeah,
And,
it'll
yeah.
and then what happens? You so you go into Jeremiah playing Aeldari Ynnead.
I go into Ryan. Ryan was round.
Oh, it's
2.
Ryan.
Jeremiah
That's
was
right.
Ryan.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. Yeah, I get to play Ynnead. Yippee.
And Ryan also very good player.
Very strong player. Yeah, he's a team member of my city.
Isn't he like the 20th, like one of the top 20 best Death Guard players on the planet or something?
Yeah, no, he's a Death Guard like main, I guess. He switched to Ynnead recently because he was already picking up Drukhari and
because he likes when the movement actually gets into double digits instead of just 4
without potentially a long bomb advance. Yeah. Yeah, and he's been testing it. I have played a couple of games in Ynnead, so I kind of knew what was up. And this is a little Deathwatch tip. Don't respect the shenanigans. I don't know how to put this, but you need to bully Ynnead players. Like, and this is what I did. So I went second, yay. So turn 1, I just deployed 2 Indomitor bricks basically in front of his whole army, and I deleted like one of their transports, both of their scorpions. Oh, this is what happened. He put the Incarn. No, that was round 5. Sorry. I delete the scorpions, I delete a transport, and I delete another unit. And I say, come get me. And his Incubi unit is very scary, admittedly. It fights first, and it comes and it kills almost all of my vet unit. But then his whole army is out. No, it's crazy. It'll delete that unit.
No, I mean like I'm acting concerned because it didn't.
Yeah, so what I had to do was
he rolled cold or something because like
no, I heroicked with
that
the
unit
collapsed. And then I heroicked with the Incursor and did mines, and that killed a couple Incubi.
Oh,
and then I AOC'd. And then it was just the Watchmaster and like one guy left.
Really neat. I forgot about the mines entirely.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool in the vehicles, but I mean it's cute. On average, it's 4 mortal wounds. But so
I mean that kills 4 Incubi, so I'm into it.
A good amount of Incubi. Yeah. I did roll 3, so it was good. So yeah, they just have they're really good damage profiles, but they don't line up well into Deathwatch. Like fire dragons have no rerolls, so they're just like raw dogging them dice, and there's not a lot of them. If you can skirt the banshees, those guys are pretty good at killing infantry, so they're like the priority threat number one. But I mean, Incarn has like 4 or 5 attacks. It's not scary either. You can AOC Dark Reapers. Like they will put their whole army into an Indom brick and kill it. Warp spiders are winning on 5s. But you like the Terminator units are actually secretly your MVP because they rev up the Friar and just delete anything because it's all T3 1 wounds.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
like,
they just got Stormbolters and fucking Cyclone missile launchers with blasts for days. So
yeah.
they're like, oh, you got
Yeah.
a 10-man, what's their normal?
It's
Their
Guardian Squad. Storm
Guardians, yeah, like a 3-man of Terminators will erase a 10-man Guardian squad. Like, don't even bother rolling, just start scooping. It's
yeah, exactly. And that's another thing for the humble Thunderhammer Storm Shield is that Dark Reapers, that guy's soaking up 2 Dark Reaper shots. And there's only 5 shots in the unit. And if you AOC, you have 3-ups. So you're just like, sure, it's a scary profile, but I'm just nuking you.
yeah.
Admittedly, Ryan is still pretty new to the army, but I don't.
Yeah,
I think
like Ryan knows the core rules. He knows the terrain rules. Yeah. Like that, and that player. In a game this complex, like I cannot overestimate to anybody listening who's new to this or a middling player. Like if you know the core rules, you can bully your way to the mid tables.
Yeah, like, for sure. It is like, almost like a ticket to ride. Like if you don't, then you're not going to get there. But if you do,
and at that top, like at the top end, like you got to know everything. But like if you just want to do well, you know, if you want to come in 4th place at an RTT, if you just know the core rules, you can probably get like 4th place at an RTT. Like
yeah, if you know how to pile in right.
Exactly. Yeah, but like that's like seriously.
No, I agree. It takes years and years to learn that. If you don't have someone like actively showing you how it works, and you just kind of have to learn through repetition.
And 10th, like one of the design, like one of the things I think Games Workshop did very well in 10th is they made it so it's like, here's an army rule. So like Grey Knights always teleport. Okay, so when you go play a Grey Knights player, you regardless of whatever the fuck they do, they're always gonna teleport, right? And then they're like, the only thing that really changes is some detachment rules and 6 stratagems.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's only 5 of the stratagems that actually change because there's always AOC or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so when you are playing a new army, like I've been playing a lot of 1,000-point games into a like friend of mine trying to like teach him the game. So I'll play like Unending Sword and Nids, and then I'll play Nurgle Demons, and and it's like, wow, this game is actually like really easy to pick up new detachments.
Yeah, new armies even.
Yeah, like whole new armies. I can just switch. I can like, okay, yeah, like I gotta reference my rules a lot, but like it's all on basically one monitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus
it's on your phone if you have it.
Yeah, and like 9th edition, it's like, oh yeah, it's 16 stratagems.
Yeah.
Like good fucking luck remembering all that stuff, unless you are like a Scary and you only play one army, and then you're fine. But like,
if you're a normal man, immortal,
exactly. If you have another hobby,
exactly. If you don't own every White Dwarf that 9th edition was relevant in, then what are you doing?
Yeah, so that's like the strength of 10th is actually really solid with that stuff. So Ryan knows the core rules. He can pick up a whole new army. He can pick up a new detachment, and he can ride pretty well. And I actually don't have them up right now because I'm an idiot. But where did Ryan land? I have the Best Coast pairing link down below for anybody who wants to see it. Ryan came in. Oh wow, a lot further down than I thought. He came in 25th out of 70 players. 70?
So
yeah.
Was that 4-2?
But he's a really good player. What?
That was 4-2, I think, right? I don't know.
He did
really well.
He was 3-2. It
Oh,
looks
he
like
might
he
have
actually dropped the
he
last round.
dropped the last round.
So
yeah.
if he had played his last round, he probably would have been in like
Yeah.
the top 10.
4-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that 6-round tournaments just take it out of you.
Yeah.
That last round is crazy, but anyway, basically we scuffed the first 2 turns and then he was tabled and then I got to score for free. And the Incarn is not hard to kill and it's not really that much of a threat. The second he starts doing tricks with it, you can just kind of point at it and it'll lie. Yeah, the game ended 90-68. I mean, like, know what Ynnead is trying to do. Like, they're gonna move on to points, but you want to get Terminators onto the points as fast as possible because it's hard for that army to displace Terminators and Indomitor bricks. It just takes concerted effort that they just don't have.
So bring teleport, strike force, Grey Knights, 30 Terminators, go.
Yeah, exactly. Literally just advance on the points and then you win. They cannot do anything.
That's wild to think about.
But if, like, God forbid you play like Chaos or not Chaos Knights, like a regular Space Marine army with just a bunch of like Fortis kill team likes where you're running a couple of tanks and like if you're running 2 Vindicators and a bunch of regular Marines, they'll just delete that. But if you're running a bunch of T6 dudes and dudes with invulns that make Fire Dragons and Warp Spiders like upset, you're living pretty good.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's that. Yeah. Moving on to round 3. I play against a very cool Awakened Dynasty Necron list.
So I pinged Mr. Murphy before this. He said he tried to catch the stream. I played into him at an RTT where, so he's playing the Awakened Dynasty brick list, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if I remember right, the linchpin of this this army is like there's a 20 million warrior brick that are OC3 with a 4-up invul. They regen like I don't even know. They bring back like fucking 10 or 11 guys. And they can do it out of phase.
Yeah.
And then they have the reanimator, which helps them do that. It's like it's crazy. It is, yeah. Yeah. And like I was at this RTT with my Grey Knights and I eked out a win barely, but he was telling me this and I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this. Like I don't have the firepower, but you do.
You think. I've played him before. We did testing for a teams tournament and it was a very small win for me. This is on Purge the Foe too. And I was like, this is great. I love Purge the Foe. But he deployed his unkillable warrior brick. It is unkillable. I've tried. This army cannot kill it because he has a ghost arc, he has a CP reactivation, stuff like that. But what we can do is we can push it back and then get on points, is which we'll talk about in a little bit. But he hides his whole army. I'm not kidding. His whole army, besides the one warrior brick, and then he puts the warrior brick basically on 3 points, and he says, "I'm going to score more unless you stop me." And it's hard. I mean, so I went first, and so I knew that that's not a good position to be on Purge the Foe. So I start recycling secondaries turn 1. I thankfully I get containment and extend battle lines. I'm like, that's a great start. And we both know that it's like basically it's my game to lose. It's his game to lose. But I start doing what I think was a mistake in that I was just kind of like playing really passively myself. I think I should have been pushing back the warrior unit and then standing on the points. That doesn't happen until turn 2. I get area denial. I get secure no man's land and engage. Okay. So what I have to do is he has been specifically like only putting enough on the point. So if I draw something crazy, he doesn't lose like overwhelming force or stuff like that. So I put incursors on the point and I score that. I don't get to kill anything. I only get hold 1. So I'm at 4 primary for turn 2. He pulls out the Menhirs of the Silent King, a Scorpack Lord, and he kills the squad. And so he gets 12 points because he gets kill more because there's 1-0.
Yep.
And so I start getting like, okay, I need to lock in. So I draw. Oh, I also draw, bring it down. I can't score it. So I shoot the Menhirs off which was really important. I put the Silent King to 6, basically like almost one-shotting him. Yeah.
Wow.
He tries to screen out my warrior, my vet squad with his warriors, but I get to like Conga line, and I end up just charging back into the warriors anyway.
Isn't
But I
the
basically,
isn't that 10-man like with sustained hits and stuff actually pretty good because of the dev wounds? Isn't it pretty good into, or does
It's
that
okay.
unit also have a feel no pain? I can't remember.
he has a feel no pain.
Okay, I remember that unit was
Yeah.
absolutely torturous.
Yeah, no, it
To
was
try to
nuts.
kill.
Yeah, so basically I had to charge it with the vet squad. So the vet squad kind of ate one of his objectives just with OC.
Mhm.
And he it's like an octopus where he'll pull back towards the heart of his gross army, and then he'll just respawn outwards. And so I knew I had to play around him doing that and reanimating and stealing primary. So what I started doing turn 4 was basically start doing long bomb charges, trying to get more kill units. Because he also can't kill that easily with the warrior brick until he starts
he
pulling
can't.
stuff out.
Yeah.
So once I start presenting resources, we start actually playing a game. So I get hold 1, kill 1, and then rounds 4 and 5, we're actually now playing a game, and I'm playing Deathwatch. Do I bomb a 12-inch charge and steal stuff for free? Yes. Does that matter? Absolutely. But skill issue,
Yeah, just roll more 6s, guys. God, if you
Yeah, come
always
on,
roll
easy.
6s, you don't lose the game.
You get a reroll. It's easy. Use it.
Yeah.
And also the warrior brick does not like getting charged by terminators because they make you take battle shock tests at -1. I do believe he fails that. So I get to clip the wings off the warrior brick to like 5 or 6 models. And what I do is because I charged really high, I got to position the Indomitor brick as a circle, a ring around the rosy of the middle objective.
Mhm.
So I was like, you're not getting kill more. You can get so you're not getting hold more, and you're not getting kill more. So I got to get 12 points on primary turns 4 and 5. And it was really hard because it's either that or I just pull off, give him nothing and try and deny that. But I think, I don't think his army can kill enough. So it works out really well. It was very, very close.
It's like the joke earlier where it's like, fuck it, we ball maybe, but now you're like, no, fuck it, we ball, let's go.
We ball, yeah. We were born balling.
Yeah.
And so he only gets 4 points on round 5 because he barely doesn't kill a Thunderstrike. That would have been 3 points for overwhelming, 4 more points for primary. And that would have made the game 1 point difference.
Wow.
But yeah.
Oh, that's a good game though. I like a good game that's close.
Yeah.
Like a blowout game is funny sometimes, but like the good games are where you're like, if I gotten like 1 more inch on that advance, or if I killed 1 more model, or you would have, like, those are the tight fun games.
They make me feel like I need to smoke and I don't smoke. It's just
exactly. It's like like
you want to talk about it the rest of the night too. You're like, well, if you could have done this, and we
but
kind
also
of did.
You like lay in bed and you're thinking like, what could I have done to make it so that like, and you're just like, like what's that math meme of that lady with all the like,
girl and
all the like formulae are flying around her head. It's like, that shit's good.
We've all been there.
And like simultaneously when it happens to, like, I was playing a 9th edition game, and I remember, I don't remember this. I think it was my Grey Knights versus my friends like Minotaurs, but it was really, really tight. And it came down to, he went second. It was turn 5. He got the score at the bottom of the turn, and he like moved 1 like intercessor back onto a point, which at that time it was OBSEC. And I didn't have OBSEC, and he flipped the point and won by 1 point, and like won the whole game by 1 point. And like, I'm like, dude, I can't be mad. That's incredible. Like, fucking handshake.
No, it's so good. And basically the whole time I'm like, he's gonna win by 2. That's it. I've tried to do everything I can. And then his bottom of turn 5, just nothing goes for him. He doesn't kill anything. He leaves it on like 2 wounds.
I thought you went second.
No, I went first on Purge.
Oh, on this. Oh, yeah. Shit, that's right.
So I was like, okay, he's gonna get killed. So that's why I did the ring around. I was like, you're not gonna get kill more, hold more.
Yeah, Purge is real good for elite armies that go second.
Yeah, it is very good.
And if you're into
Which I
hordy
was,
armies, like Zach just said in chat, fuck
Yeah.
Purge, and it's because he's a hordy army. And if he goes first into an elite army that goes second with like, we're not running MSU, baby, like we're running 10-mans, he's gonna hate his life. Because you're just gonna scoop points on him. Yeah.
But then we play Burden of Trust, and suddenly the MSU players have no complaints. Interesting.
Right.
It's interesting.
It's almost like it's a game.
Yeah. Big. But I think the TO actually started removing Purge the Foe because it was such a volatile mission. So I pray I don't have to play Killen again because that game was very close.
Yeah, Killen is a great player too. Like just a great guy too.
Oh my gosh.
Super cool guy.
Like I'll give a couple shout outs. One for his channel, I think PNW 40K. He talks about it. Of course I watched it. I'm vain. And two, the underwhelming Force guys have been just getting so strong as a team. It's been really cool to watch that like growth. And it's cool to see just the competition in the PNW get just higher and higher level every year.
I'll slap a link into chat with his channel, and I'll try to remember to edit the video deets. But yeah, he's a great guy, and you should watch his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and he'll have more insights into the game than me, and it's cool to see his perspective too. So that's day 1, 3-0, off the back of crazy games against great players. I'm exhausted, and I'm scared. Honestly, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of demons, there's a lot of orcs, there's a lot of Ynnead. So it's like, just give me Ynnead all day, and we'll be okay. And that's not what happens immediately. I play into Guard, Mechanized Assault. And his list is kind of crazy. It's like a couple Khazarkan squads, a bunch of Chimeras, a little light on tanks. It's got like a Rogaldorn Commander, like and a Vanquisher.
Like
and then the heavy weapon squads with the damage 2 flamers. And then some Ogryn to flip points, which I thought was cool. This was the ritual, which was pretty fun. I know he's not really like aggressing on my points, but I'm not aggressing on his. So the game basically starts with me kind of understanding I'm trying to draw a line from the middle down to like, so I can like split 2 or 3 objectives and hold them kind of safe. And this was layout 8.
Question in chat, just like real quick. Is it Ogryn or Bulgrin that he's running?
The ones with guns. The heavy bolters.
So not the shields.
No shields.
Okay, so actual Ogryn. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, they've got the knives in the guns.
Yeah, I feel like you roll like you see Bulgrin everywhere, and you see Ogryn like nowhere.
But I think they got nerfed from the index to the codex, but I'm really not familiar with Guard that much.
Got it.
Thankfully, I don't have to play it a lot. We'll go back to the last video, and I won't talk about Guard. But yeah, no. So he has identified an idea of he's going to deny my primary the whole game because he's going second. I go first. That simply doesn't pan out. He's not a traditional guard list. The things inside his chimeras, once the Ogryns are out, are actually really valuable pieces. They're the Khazarkan squads, and his whole detachment is you get +1 if you disembark. So those units are good, but they're not good at flipping points because he wants to disembark, get back in, disembark, get back in. This matchup made me feel like God because I put in cursors in the middle. He can't shoot them with tanks. He has to get the Ogryn out. Those actually kill him. I was actually surprised. And then his Khazarkan units just like did not do enough damage.
So the name of this guy's list, if you look it up, was quote, Scions were nerfed. I guess the Khazarkans are up next, end quote.
Yeah, he was having a good time.
That's good.
You could tell he was really enjoying himself. No, he did say he wanted to bring Bridgehead, and then that was nerfed. So that's a bummer, but I mean that army was also very strong. So it is what it is. I think the highlight and kind of if I had sum up this whole match, I won't get into the minutia too much. Big thing is I hold on to Storm Hostile for 2 turns, and then he just doesn't put anything on anything other than his home objective. So he gets, or his natural objective. So he gets 5 points for primary 2 turns in a row for the trade-off of me holding on to Storm because he doesn't want to give me Storm. I'm like, that's fine with me because I'm scoring other secondaries and you're not scoring primary.
That's so what a you guys who are good at this game are just such a different meta level than I am, man. Like that's like was that a conscious decision you made? Like I'll hold on to Storm to make him come to me so that I can score points. And you're like, I will not discard this. I don't need the like CP. Because at least playing my Grey Knights, I would discard that so fast because I am CP I'm always at like 1 to 2 CP with my Grey Knights, man. So I guess Warbane's a little better, but the ritual, that.
So there's going to be more objectives for me to Storm, but
he just and they're going to be where you want them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He just doesn't have enough damage to kill my units. He shoots a Rogel Dorn Commander at my Indomitor unit in cover, and I AOC it, and I lose like 2 guys to the whole activation because I'm just making 3-ups. It's a bunch of really crazy shooting, and it's all at AP2, so it's not as scary as you think. The Vanquisher has 1 big bad gun. The Khazarkin have a bunch of Plasma and Melta, which Plasma takes 2 to go through to kill a guy. Melta's the same thing. There's 1 thing, but he's outside of Melta range, so he's just rolling D6.
Yeah.
So his go turn is really anemic, and then I get to go 5-5. I go 5-10, 15-10, just like get to score as much primary as possible, and then his secondary is completely whiff. I think by his go turn 3, when it just completely failed to kill anything, he kind of gave up. He was like, "We can talk it out from here." Deathwatch has that ability with people where you either table them by a certain point and they say we can just talk it out, which is very interesting. I'm not used to playing an army that does that. I'm not saying like weaponize it, but it's interesting, and you should try and get to that point every game where you just like, all right, I've tabled you. Now I'm going to score all my points. But yeah, it was fun.
I mean, it is definitely like a glass cannon army, though.
Oh,
right?
It is
like,
for sure.
Like, maybe you spike some 4-up invuls on your Terminator squads or whatever, but like your Indom have no invuls.
No. Yeah, if you're playing into
kind of rough.
Inceptors, Forge Fiends, any high AP damage 3.
Fuck Forge Fiends, man.
Yeah. You can't have that mentality.
I have nightmares with my Grey Knights because it's just you're just like every 4-up I fail is a dead Terminator, and they're like 21 points a model.
Yeah, and you're there 3D 3 plus 9 or 2, 4, 6 plus 6 shots. So it's like, okay. And if they're in pack bound, they're sus, and it's
and they all and even if they fail their leadership, they still get their bonus, but they just like take D3 wounds or whatever. Like I'd take that all day.
Yeah, well, what the hell? It's a closer game than it looks. It's 78-65. But I mean, the points don't really reflect what happened in the game, where like I just kind of got to stand on points and kill whatever I wanted. Not to be like regressive or like oversimplifying, but it really, I mean, layout 8, we don't get a lot of angles, so I can't really play the traditional game.
Is that the one where everything is straight?
Everything, so it's like, if I guess I was just playing with this. This is like the battlefield. There's like a point here, nice. A point here. Yeah, my toy.
Yeah, no, I'm ADD as well. Like I sit in meetings at work and build Legos. Or paint models because it's something for my hands to do. Like while my brain and my ears like listen to the meeting, my hands and my eyes are doing something else. So I totally get it. Yeah.
If look, it's 40K is great for that.
If you have ADHD,
I was
cannot recommend fidgeters enough.
Models.
Oh, cool.
Nice. We'll save that for another video. But
so we're gonna lose you.
Yeah, no, never. I'm having too much fun with Deathwatch.
Good.
So that's that game. And that game really solidifies, like, if you can identify armies that don't have the damage output, you are a stat check army, where it's like you can deploy really aggressively, and if your opponent messes up, you just get to prioritize like taking advantage of that. Obviously, that's not every matchup. Other lethal armies will just punish you and you'll die and you'll lose. But if they're not super lethal, if they're kind of tricksy like GSC or stuff like that, you can kind of play a little bit more aggressively than you're comfortable, and you'll probably work out.
That's cool. I mean, but you don't want to do that into like fucking Ultramarines.
No,
like
you don't want to do
Vanguard
that.
Ultramarines, you'll just lose an Indom team every turn.
Oh my god, the 6-man Plasceptor just absolutely one taps that unit. With if it's Gladius too, they have AP4. You're like, okay, there's nothing I can do.
I'm not even rolling.
No,
Unless
I hope I Overwatch enough.
Yeah,
like,
unless you're in cover, and then you get 6 Eps.
Oh boy!
And then suddenly you're playing Orks, right, Zach?
No, yeah, exactly. Right. T-shirt saves.
Yeah.
So that's round 4. I'm feeling good. Going to round 5, I play against Ynnead again. Against a long-time Eldar player.
Yeah. So this is Jeremiah. I want to quickly ask you a question though. So like, I've only been to a couple like GTs, and only one. I've been to LVO once, and like every night of LVO is like a party.
Yeah.
You meet a guy at a game, they have a great time, you exchange like text mess, like the next thing you know at like 11 p.m. this guy's like, come drink with us. You're like, fine, fuck it. And then you go and like the next day and you're like you have 3 hours of sleep, and you're absolutely like hungover because it's part of the fun is being social. How much did you, like, you're a local boy, like you didn't have to travel. How much did you...
I travel from Olympia, but I didn't travel that far.
Okay, yeah. So you drove like an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like, did you party hardy and then go into day 2, or did you?
Yeah. So
like, are you like a John Lennon where you like go to bed and you get your 8 hours, you never drink? Okay.
I sleep on a couch that's far too small for me. Like I say with Lucas, every time we come down, they're very gracious.
Lucas, you say?
Lucas. Ominous. Yeah. Yeah, and so I had the last couple of times I didn't have my car, and so I went with some other Olympia fellas, some different places. But this time I did get to link up with Killen, a bunch of the Underwhelming Force guys, and then Tanner, a bunch of Rose City guys, and we went to a bar. And
hilarious
funny
human being. Yeah,
I love that guy. His favorite bar. It's like 5 minutes from his house, and we're out there till like 1 a.m. talking about everything. A lot of 40K. A lot of video games, stuff like that, and we get a couple of drinks in us, you know.
And
so
Tanner
I was definitely.
I'm sorry, Tanner came in 7th. Killen came in 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no, I was not playing an easy GT.
No, you weren't. I recognize. I recognize every name except this guard player that you went into. Literally everyone else, I knew their name, but not this guy.
Yeah, I actually played the guard player before in Pendleton. He's from Idaho, and he knows what I mean. He's a serious player.
Sure.
So,
I mean, he did come in 12th. Like,
yeah,
you knocked out a lot of the people you knocked out only took 1 loss, and it was from you, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Which I'm happy to give out. You know, if it has to be anyone, I'm happy it's me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But yeah, so I'm playing Jeremiah, and his list is slightly different. It has less Drukhari models, still has the same kind of big break you can expect with the Incubi. He does something interesting where he puts the Incarn in Strat Reserve. And I'm like, that's awesome. So I'm even more emboldened, and I'm even more incentivized to just kill as many units as possible as early as possible to limit the threats he can do. And so I think I kill like 3 units turn 1 because I go second. I kill both of his striking scorpions and a unit of he has birds. He has the flying ones, the Baharath guys. I don't know the name.
I don't either. That I like
again, racist.
Aeldari is like Aeldari is just one of those. It's like they have 40 or 50 fucking data sheets, and I'm never gonna. If I play this game for 50 years, I'm never gonna learn like all their data sheets.
I just remembered Swooping Hawks. That's what it is.
Swooping Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
So I
guys with the
probably-
wings on their back.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
they're not bikes. But they're kind of
No.
bikes.
They're fly boys.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
agree.
Like they're
Yeah.
kind of bikes.
They do mortals when they get near you. And so I get to basically just start lawn mowing his army without any kind of recourse. He does something that I think more people should do, where he tags my Indomitor with the transport. So I have to kind of like either stay in combat and punch it out, or fall back and shoot the transport to death with another unit. So that was smart from him. But I mean, it's the same thing. His whole army is like MSU 5-mans, and you're even more incentivized to just drop, shoot a unit, try and bomb a 9-inch charge into another unit. And I mean, poor Jeremiah, I just could not fail 9-inch charges. It is just impossible for me to this game. So the Terminators just kept coming out. He had 2 units of Dark Reapers, which again, it's 5 shots a guy or 5 shots a unit, and if you AOC, you're taking 3 ups on Terminators, so they actually don't love that. He was absolutely tabled turn 3, I think. Like, because from turn 1, I start the gas. I'm just clearing out all of his units, and he has to try and score points in the middle. He has a turn where he comes out with all of his Warp Spiders and the Incarn. Doesn't kill as much as he needed to flip primary. And so I get to kill all of his Warp Spiders. Every one of my units can kill 1 or 2 of his units. The Incarn, I get to kill that. He does try and reactive move it after I shoot the first unit, but he only moves 2 inches. So it doesn't change. What I can see.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
if it was more, it would have been
sucks
great,
for you. You have to roll now, you jerks. You can't just move 6 or whatever.
Exactly. And the Deathwatch vets got to exist longer than they should. I mean, like I said, I think the Banshees were the ones that got into it this time. And so, I have more 4-up invulns in the 10-man than I did at the last tournament. I've taken out the frag cannons and I've added 2 more the Xeno weapons.
Ooh, is that in this list in here? I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah.
I saw 10-man 200
it.
points and skipped it because everybody takes the same loadout, so I didn't look at it at all.
I think that's probably better. I think 2 flamers is good to have just to kind of clear out maybe like
Absolutely.
a 5-man. Yeah. But that's something I'm not changing. I think it's great. Because it helps you live a little bit longer, which is what you need. And yeah, like I said, I get to teleport an Indom into his like backfield and kill 2 units and charge the 3rd. It's just like a bummer. Like the Flamers shoot at the 5-man. He had their like scout equivalent, and then the rest of the unit shoots at Banshees that were staged. And then I charge unit. I think I fail a charge into the unit of Warp Spiders, but then I can just get on the point later, and it's just gaming. It was 100 to 48, so like I basically got to just sit on my points.
That's a hell of a win into Jeremiah, man. I've been in RTTs where he easily clears and wins it. Like again, fantastic player. Like cannot downplay that enough. Like you didn't.
No, he's super strong. Yeah.
Especially like round 5 on a 6-game GT. Like you're not playing if you're undefeated, you're not like playing a slouch, right? Like
no.
It's not somebody who accidentally rolled 6s and then ended up in round 5,
Not some world leader player just bombing charges. Yeah, I get to score like perfect secondaries on one of the few hundreds I've scored, but I think I can't lie to you, Deathwatch players. Fuck it, we ball will carry you harder than trying to not ball, especially into this army. Like if you play elves,
ball harder, brothers.
Turns,
ball harder.
Yeah, harder, truly. Fill that ball up with air and throw it. Because they, like I said, T3 army sisters, I assume is the same way. Fear the Castigator. Sisters doesn't exist right now anyway. But
well, hold on, watch them unnerf them too much.
If they do that,
and then we'll have them leading the pack again. We'll have to deal with all that shit again.
If that happens, you'll see me bringing triple Exorcists and Castigators. This whole wall is like sisters models. But
you jerk.
I know. And then this is a witch hat for when T-Suns comes out.
Isn't that your bed?
Yeah, it's a wizard hat.
Isn't
on a
it
bed.
full of models, or is that just a weird? Oh, it's a weird pattern on your. It looks like a shelf of models over your back, but it's just a weird pattern on your on your comforter.
No, yeah, this is my I'm 5
You just sleep in a pile of models like a weirdo who likes stepping on Legos or something.
Yeah, exactly. My
you just like
feels so good.
What is it? Flagellation. You're just like
flagellation.
Flagellation.
I know that because I'm a Sisters player. Yeah,
flagellation. Right. It sounds like
anyway,
farts.
Yeah, exactly, and it's worse. So I'm 5-0. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is a little context. The first Rosehammer, I was 5-0. This was the first time I'd ever gone undefeated for 5 rounds. I was very proud of myself. First time I was on Goodhammer.
It's in Rosehammer 1, you mean?
Yes, Rosehammer 1. This is Rosehammer 3. I did not go to Rosehammer 2, but
or you would have been 5-1 then too. Or
brother, I would have lost. Yeah,
or 5-0 rather, or 4-0 at this point. Sorry.
And Rosehammer 1, I have to play Lucas in the finals, and Rosehammer 3 is a repeat.
Yeah,
because death is inevitable, death and taxes.
Yeah,
and Lucas Stroller, for you folks at home, is one of the best players on this planet. I'll stand by that.
He's definitely one of the best orc players on this planet.
Yes, exactly.
And he's definitely one of the best overall players in this area.
Yes,
hands down.
He is a benchmark that one day I will surpass. And I think if he was playing tactical, there's like actually a small chance.
Oh, he plays mixed?
No, I mean tactical, like the detachment, the orc tactical.
Oh, yeah, tactical brigade. I was like, Lucas.
Yeah, he played fixed Cold the Horde, and he just scored 1 million. No,
Cold the Horde.
Yeah. So I really wish I could say this game was like close, that it was exciting, but he was playing Dakka. He's a very strong player. He knows exactly how to utilize that unit and that detachment. I deployed. I went first. He Zodrod jailed me. He also cleared all my trash very early with he's finding angles. I clap back. I tell him, like, if this game was like 7 rounds, I'd probably win, because by the end of the game, we're both extremely tabled. Like, the cool thing about Deathwatch is that you can kill just as much as he can. T5 sucks for the bolters, but you have anti-infantry 2 up, so you can kind of like pick what you need to kill.
And you can force it through, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, the SAGs and the truck tank busters are just so good at just clearing out everything. I score 3 primary. This is on Lynchpin. I score 3 primary. And he gets to basically sit on the battlefield, push me into my DZ, because orcs have so many units. He can just be like, "You're not coming down anywhere near here."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Yes, sir, absolutely, sir."
As you were, sir. Please, sir, may I have another?
Sir, can we just call it? Yeah. And so I'm basically upping and downing the same lines in my DZ the whole game. I think there were a couple of things I could have done better. I didn't advance and charge the vets turn 1 because it was Fog of War, and a no CP reroll means like if I don't get to do that, the unit dies for free. But then his Beast Naga boys just rolled a 6 on their advance and got the charge anyway. So I was like, oh, of course.
As you do.
Yeah.
As you do.
Naturally, yeah. But I don't think that's a matchup you can win. I don't obviously I beat Zach, which was cool, but
so I was actually just bringing up their list because Zach, again, very good player. Awesome guy. I'm proud to call him my friend. Zach likes to run weird shit sometimes. Mm-hmm. And if I remember right, he brought a Gorkanaut.
He did not bring a Gorkanaut.
Oh, he didn't. He didn't.
He brought the battle wagon, which was. Here's the spice. He brought a 20-man boy brick with the character that gets blast equal to the number of guys in your unit, which was insane.
Never mind. So I know Zach has been huge on the Gorkanaut bandwagon, but I think that might only be in his Death Dread list then.
Yeah, I think so.
But I thought he was going to try to make it work in Dakka, which it probably would. But
Yeah.
Lucas's list is a straight up meta. It is even called "You Will Die Now."
Yes. And
Like, and when
he
Lucas
also
names
has
a list that, he's not kidding.
No, he's like you said, he's been playing Orks longer than I've been playing 40k. So like he knows everything about the matchup. He plays a lot. He's a very strong player. He's on Team USA. So he knows everything about the matchup more than I do. So he was like, this is what's gonna happen. And I'm like, that makes sense. And then it happens. Not that he's telling me like, but it's like he knows, he's practiced. This is just repetition.
Yeah.
He is part of a podcast, Take All Comers. You can listen to him.
That's right. I keep they changed the name like a year and a half ago, and I keep wanting to call it the old one.
Best in Faction or whatever.
Yeah. Best in Faction. But they're on
Stat Check.
They're on Stat Check. That's it. Yeah. So yeah. Really great podcast. He's on there with Nick.
Yep. Nicholas Olsen Johnson.
Yep.
And Tyler Bortel.
All three of them incredible players. So yeah, man.
Yep. On Team USA.
Yeah. Yeah. All on Team USA. So pretty good players, I hear.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It ain't easy.
Yeah.
And then Lucas is just starting like 2 years in a row. So he's playing in the tournament for the world champs. So he knows what's up.
Yeah.
So that takes me out.
Like Lucas has no shit. I've been in like Discords where people are talking about strategies like that they've watched Lucas use on like streaming and been like, why didn't we all think of that?
Yeah.
Like one guy.
Obvious.
Yeah. Like one guy is like, if you ever see an orc player turn their truck sideways and then charge you, like you're fucked.
Yeah.
And it's because they're like, again, they know the core rules. They're up in your like grill, and you know they're gonna pile out and just absolutely annihilate you. And they're gonna get, you know, if every model's within 1 inch of another model, that 20-man can just wrap the bus.
Yep, and then you're losing your whole unit.
Yeah.
And I will say quickly, the truck data sheet is egregious.
For 55 points, I agree.
Yeah. Your Tank Busters unit is out of position. Why don't you just advance it into the truck and then shoot it out of the truck?
Well,
your orc unit is tagged and cannot shoot. What if you fell back into the truck and then shot out of the truck? Open top 12 is just wild to me. It is a wild concept. And
yeah, I mean, I think there's still so Stash is still in the chat now, but he was talking to me about like why don't I take in it's not a repulsor, what's the Primaris transport? Impulsor. Like why don't I take an impulsor versus a rhino? And I'm like, well, I guess you can drop dudes out after you advance. That's cool for a shooting unit. Like they still can't shoot. Or a charge, but like whatever, if it's just a shooting unit, I'm like, that's cool. There's one more wound, that's whatever. Oh, it is firing deck 6, not firing deck 2, because a rhino is firing deck 2, and I'm like, well, maybe there is some play there, actually.
Yeah. Like, put some Infernus Marines in there. You build your own ball predator. You know?
Yeah, like, or build your own, there's a Death Guard thing where they stick, like,
oh yeah,
the two flamer dudes in the, and it's like 63 attacks or like per flamer guy or some shit. It's like an insane
712 or something crazy.
Yeah, it's an insane amount of it's coming from a rhino. So you're like, I have to crack that.
Yeah, and you're like, obviously the rhino won't table me, and then you're like, I'm tabling you.
And then the dudes get out, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, they get out with an 8, and like, I'm gonna grenade you 1,000,000 times now. And you're like, of course, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Death Guard.
Yeah. So
anyway,
Lucas,
sorry.
Spoiler alert, takes it on. He gets first place, but as penance for having a crazy 6 rounds, my tiebreakers make it so I get the silver. So I'm in second place. Pat on the back for me, and I get a trophy.
Ooh.
I have it right here.
I was gonna start on my next exposition, but now I'll let you just keep the spotlight.
Yeah, it's a little gold trophy. A little
Dude, that's rad.
here. Yeah.
Tactical
so,
brilliance.
I am a tactically brilliant human being by playing Deathwatch. And you
Achievement
can, too.
unlocked.
Yeah. Which is cool. I always love, another thing for the wall.
But you didn't get best in faction?
No. I
No,
mean, if
I
we
don't.
were doing best in factions, I would have been the only one.
That's
There's
true.
few of us,
Were you
but-
the only Deathwatch player there too?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't
think
actually look
so.
at that. Yeah. Okay.
Normally, the Deathwatch players come up to me and we have a little, silver arm handshake or whatever, but
Nice.
uh,
I have thought about actually buying 2 hoodies, a silver one and a black one, and removing the
Nice.
left arm from the silver one and sticking it on the black one, because I think that would be
That'd be
really funny
sick.
at
Yeah.
a tournament. But then I think about the fact that I'm like, I'm gonna wear that hoodie for like 10 minutes of the first game, and I'm never wearing it
Yeah.
again for the rest
I'm
of the
going-
event.
yeah.
I'll
It is
be
going to sit in a chair.
so warm.
Yeah. I started bringing tank tops. It's just like, I know I'm going to sweat like a stud.
Yeah,
pig,
it's
so
just like tits out. I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
like,
brothers, you've
like,
seen it
deal with
already.
it. Yeah,
yeah. Look
just
away.
just so much hair.
Yeah, I wish, dude. No.
Oh yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
French, so
Oh, there you
it's
go.
like it's like 3 curlies right in the middle of my
Yeah,
chest.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
all I've
Well,
got.
apparently
yeah.
I'm French too, so good to know.
But no back hair.
Oh yeah, it's a
I've
trade-off.
never had a woman complain about the back hair because there isn't any.
Yeah. No, not yet. I can't wait.
You just
Like a
become a
puberty.
rug.
Yeah.
I mean,
just
how
fucking-
old are you? Like
I'm
26?
29.
Okay, that was pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
well, you got the baby face, is all.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's funny. I have a twin brother, and yeah, we're
Oh, like
blessed.
fraternal or identical?
Identical. He was actually at the tournament. He ran demons.
I saw another person with your same last name, but I wasn't gonna.
Yeah, funny
I don't know.
story about that. I tried to get him into the hobby in 9th edition, and I was playing Black Templars, and he was like, I want to play Knights. I didn't realize I built all Thunderhammers and Meltas, so I just like tabled him in 2 turns, as a brother does. And he was like, I don't want to play 40k anymore. I was
Which
like, that
one
was
is the older one?
he is by 4
Technically.
minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
God, after witnessing childbirth, I can't imagine it just being a 4-minute wait for the second one. You
Yeah.
know,
no
Like-
cooldown.
like the luge is already
Yeah.
ready to go. Just
I could
like a
not imagine.
cannon at that point. Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Thank God my mom was a trooper.
Yeah,
She's.
dude.
I mean, yeah. I'll have to call her and say, hey, thanks.
yeah, you should.
Thanks for sticking out. Yeah.
Because don't remember the don't forget the tagline is call your parents. So,
Yeah. I will.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave chat open for a little while. Anybody wants to ask anything about like whatever. And I'll Huh?
I'll go for it. Oh, I was just gonna say my next tournament is probably gonna be the Wet Coast GT if I can make it up in
I
Vancouver.
hate that name.
I know it's gross.
I know what
That's a
they're
Friday,
going for, but
Saturday
like
GT too.
that's-
Oh,
Oh, that's not bad though. I actually like that they're changing to that because then like us like working class idiots get like one whole day.
yeah. Well, it's
Uh,
in Vancouver, British Columbia, and in Canada that Friday before Easter is a holiday, so they just have it off.
Oh, so they're like, come up here, brothers.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's exciting. I'll let you know how that goes. I want to throw Deathwatch at people that aren't in Portland, which will be fun.
I want to show you how much of a Deathwatch noob I am. I have the Deathwatch vet Wahapedia article up here.
Mhm.
And this is how often this has come into play for me. I just now noticed the Xenophase place has dev wounds.
Oh yeah, I think it's +1 attack in Dev Wounds.
Because again, when that unit gets into anything, you roll the hammers first,
Yep.
and if anything's alive, you just start rolling whatever the fuck is left. But like usually there's nothing left. So I haven't had
Yeah.
to know that because it's never come up. It's literally
Yeah.
never come up.
No, not at all. It's very funny how much the hammers just do so much heavy lifting, especially on sus turn. We're like, this is awesome. Forced to hit. I don't care. I'm rerolling everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Especially into Xenos, right? Yeah.
yeah. I think it was 5 out of 6 Xenos games. It was Dakka, Ynnead, Orks. No, Necrons. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was Orks, Aeldari, Necrons, Guard, Aeldari, Orks for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a pretty wild Xenos run. Lord Stash is asking, what's something you change in your list? Which we discussed earlier, but if you want to discuss it again, you can. Or your strategy going into the next GT.
I think the strategy for Deathwatch is surprisingly linear. Like, it's linear in that it's toolboxy, which I know sounds like pedantic, but like, be as aggressive as possible without losing your models. I don't think there's any major play philosophy that's going to change. Most of it's just playing into different matchups and solidifying what your plan is into each one, which Deathwatch is one of the best armies in. If you have a bunch of reps and know what to do, you'll be rewarded greatly. For army lists, I would say I am going to experiment with Reivers instead of Incursors. And then if the meta shifts and it's all knights, then might switch back. But for now, I think Reivers might be better.
Yeah, so Stash, if you want, you can go back to our list discussion at the beginning of the podcast or stream or whatever we want to actually call us. We asked that question, and the thing is, it's awkward because we usually end up with like 70 or 80 points left. So it's like, what do you bring? Like a Tech Marine to what? Screen out your backfield, or maybe like do some actions or something, which is bizarre. Or you have a choice of either Reivers, Incursors, or Intercessors, and he brought Incursors to this tournament, but is thinking about Reivers for future tournaments, and we talk about exactly why.
There's also a world where we can experiment in changing the infiltrators into intercessors. The only reason being that it opens up the line of, if sticky is good, but for me, you can, if you're playing against something, you can sticky, throw them up on a turn you're not uppy downying, and then you can secret mission for battle line. And then you can just send them turn 5 if that's something you need to do. Because sometimes Deathwatch struggles to score primary. So it'd be good to have a contingency plan. Yeah. Now, is that worth not taking infiltrators? I'm not sure. But it's a line that I've done previously that has won me games. But I don't know if it's worth it. Because having 12-inch no deep strike makes a lot of random matchups just a lot better. Because you need, like, most missions in a GT, you'll have your home objective will matter. So having just a unit dedicated to just be there every game is really nice. It's less thinky.
I think that's actually one of the questions I had. If you watch my interview with Mark Hertel, I think I caught him like 2 days after he won LVO.
Yeah.
And we chatted. And I asked him, like, how did you protect your backfield? And he's basically like, I got rhinos, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like, wow, I would have brought the infiltrators, but he's like, nah, I don't need them.
Yeah, that's 100 points.
Like, fuck.
Yeah, that's another vet squad.
Yeah. Well, that guy, like, again, that guy was in, like, he went pedal to the metal, no, like, 0 to 60. Like, he wanted to punch you in the face with all of his models as fast as possible.
I remember watching his game.
Yeah.
I remember watching his game against Tyranids, and he had Gene Stealers in his DZ, and he's like, I don't care, 10 Deathwatch veterans are actually charging you now, and I'll deal with this later. And he just like flipped the battlefield, and I was like, I wouldn't have done that. I'm not that aggressive, but it worked. I mean, gotta kill the swarm lord. The Hive Tyrant is insane.
Yeah, well, if it's like a mission where your home field doesn't matter, I can't remember the missions now, but there are a couple where
the ritual is one
where holding your, other than defend stronghold, like secondary, holding your backfield does not matter. And extend battle lines. So it's like you can kind of roll those dice, especially if it's early. You know, it's very unlikely you'll roll, like, pull any of those. you can
And you can always just throw your lone up lieutenant around, like, so if you need it, you can go get it. But
yeah, it's true. It's true, and he's he's a good 70-point unit. I wish my Grey Knights had something like that for 70 points.
No,
Holy moly!
Every Space Marine player should run at least one.
Yeah,
like
he's good.
I think there's a world where you could turn the infiltrators into intercessors, turn the incursors into that guy, and then get Thief of Secrets if you want it. But that's just kind of a completely
I
different
was
list.
kind of surprised actually by your so let's go back to your list just like really quick. So when I'm running, and again I'm not good, at least not as good as you are. So you have the captain with the tome. I usually put Thief on the captain and Tome on the Watchmaster because I know the Watchmaster's 10-man is gonna die, and he's gonna die with it. But I'm also gonna pop Tome, like the latest I'm gonna pop Tome is turn 2. And so I'm willing to let the Watchmaster go stumble forward and die. But I'm hoping that that Captain Gravis armor stays alive. Pops one model and gets, and then because he has the Power Fist and the Relic Blade or Relic Fist, he ends up with so many goddamned attacks that are now just built up. I've actually had him at a GT solo a knight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
because then there's strength 10 on the charge. My thought process is you can't hit the tome button in a Rhino, because Rhinos are like black holes, and so I want to have the flexibility of like I'll tome turn 1. Like I will do that a lot just to completely start applying pressure, and so not having the option to do that is a little bit like before they got rid of it. I was trying to find a Watchmaster, just something to do. But I just ended up like running him and like 5 vets just on the ground. Just okay, you're my tome guy.
Yep.
I do want to experiment with MSU vets with characters. I think that's like an archetype that not a lot of people are exploring that could be good. But I don't really have time. That's the problem. Like I'm not gonna fix something that's not broken. Maybe if I have like a couple of days off at work and I can find a list I'm comfortable with. I do want to try like at least 30 vets, like 3x10 with Watchmasters, and then maybe like 2 bricks from there.
Do you remember when they had Vect? Oh man,
yeah,
and
I do remember
that.
that.
You could stack it. You like have 30 vets surround some stuff, and it's like hope you don't want to use any CP this turn.
You're gonna interrupt? No, man. Sorry, you're not gonna.
Not unless you have 5 CP.
Yeah. Oh, you have 2? That's a bummer.
Yeah. Oh God. Good times.
Yeah. Yesteryear.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things Mark was saying in my discussion with him, is he was saying that he thinks that there's a lot of play for like more vets. And apparently at the time, because aren't the vet squads are battle line too?
Yeah, they're battle line.
So like theoretically you could take 60 veterans.
I've played a list with 60 vets, and that's the entire list is 60 vets and like 6 cars. Or like 5, because you can give one Watchmaster the beacon, and then he rapids somewhere and then advances and charges.
Yeah.
Which I think
is gnarly.
It's so funny.
That's a good tech choice.
Yep.
Yeah. It used to be, I don't know if it was this index or it was 9th, but it used to be it would allow you to come down turn 1 and you could slap it on a Proteus kill team, which you could make very shooty. That was very cool, but you can't do that now. But
Indomitor is the spiritual successor.
But you can't come down turn 1. That was the thing. Like it specifically allowed you to come down on turn 1, and it was
sick. Yeah, why not GW? Stop being a coward.
Yeah. I think Grey Knights are the only ones that can come down turn 1 now with first into the fray.
You get sight to sight turn 2, but yeah. I mean, if you're like top of 1.
I mean, you can use like the Grey Knights army rule, and you can sight to sight if you go second. onto turn 1, so like theoretically you come down turn 1, but like I mean by the normal like deep strike rules.
Oh yeah.
I think Grey Knights are the only ones that can come down turn 1.
T-Suns have that enchantment or enhancement.
Oh, okay.
The crystal. But
Right. I'm wrong. See, there's always another. Always
there's
another.
it's all Psyker armies. Don't worry.
Nah, there's another. Outtro is saying he thinks guard can too, but I don't know why you would.
The key something, I think. Yeah.
The key, not the Odysseus key, because that's what.
No.
Yeah, that's what we have as Deathwatch.
One of the enhancements of all time.
It does exist. It is in fact an enhancement.
Yeah.
You can waste 15 points if you want to buy it
for your Crusade army.
Yeah. If the Odysseus key was like 18 inches, it could have some I have nothing else to spend this on energy. But it's 12.
Yeah. Which
and
is
everything
like, what vehicle?
Yeah. It's like if I'm that close to you as a tech marine or whatever, like aren't I already winning?
Yeah, exactly. It's also like, why does that have to be vehicle? Like, if it was anything, then that'd be one of the best ones. But they're like, nah, just vehicle.
Yeah, if you could turn off like a 6-man dev squad from shooting at all.
Yeah.
Like, take a leadership chest. Oh, you can't shoot? That sucks. Anyway, I'm killing half your army this turn.
Yeah, if it was the changeling, I'd think about it, but there's only one changeling.
Oh, is that a thing they do?
Yeah, changeling within 18 inches, you have to take a battle shock test, and if you fail it, you can't shoot. And if you pass it, you're -1 to hit. And
yeah, that's exactly what the
key
Odysseus key is, but it's within 12 inches in vehicles only.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's monsters.
No, it's just vehicles.
Yeah, it's just vehicles.
It's like a floppy disk or something. I don't know.
It just like covers their eyes.
Yeah. Heretical STC technology.
Oh, Isaac has an interesting question. I know one of the people in my Discord, which you should all join, by the way, has played with this, but they've tried out some Centurions.
Oh, yeah.
And in Black Spear, it's rough because they're not a kill team, so you can't use special issue ammo on them. You can't use adaptive tactics, if I remember right, and
you can.
Okay.
You can give them one of them.
Yeah, and you can.
But then you're not giving 2 kill teams.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And like Games Workshop did a really good job of like you can grab 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry unit for site to site, or 2 kill teams. Or you can give 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry unit mission tactics, or 2 kill teams. And it's like, well, fuck, like, why? Like, why, like sustained 2 turns in a row on both my big Indomitor bricks? Yes, please.
Yeah, with Overwatch, insane.
Yeah, let's just do that. Because
then you're sus lethal. That's what are we doing?
Yeah,
I think Scents are interesting because they're cheaper than Terminators. And they're oath agnostic because they just want to shoot at something on a point. But I still think, like, the 6-man... If you really want to get it, all cylinders going, it needs to be a 6-man. You spend at least 1 CP on it to uppy downy it. And so it's just not as appealing than 5 Terminators who just work efficiently just for playing the game.
Yeah, and I don't think we have any leaders that attach to it, especially leaders that will give you like the uppy downy for free.
Yeah.
And
I don't think Centurions can do that.
So it's like then you're taking. And then it's like, well, what other detachments are there? But then it's like, I'm taking Deathwatch in a non-death, like in Vanguard, and it's like, well, you just might as well do Ultramarines.
Yeah,
they're
probably better than Ultramarines,
right? Like because then you get Bobby G, you get like Calgar, you get those like linchpin, right? Like units or like leaders, yeah. And like if you run Deathwatch, it's you're less good Ultramarines. From a competitive standpoint, obviously.
No, it's true. It's completely true.
If you want to play Garage Hammer, Crusade, play whatever the fuck you want, like do it, and it'll probably be a great time. Like I remember in 9th, Assault Scents were kind of a Deathwatch pick because we could get some pretty cool stuff with them.
Yeah.
But that's not a thing. I have three painted salt sense that won't move for a while, I think.
Yeah, maybe 11th Ed.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? Otherwise, it's been a little over 2 hours, and I'm gonna let Alex go because it is 10
you
o'clock.
animals.
Yeah, you wild animals. Gosh, what else? Oh, I got a question, and it's only because this model is near and dear to my heart. Because it is the best flyer, it is the best looking flyer in the whole goddamn game. How would you give love to the Corvus Blackstar? I have some thoughts on this.
And Corvus Blackstar is very cool. I mean, well, he's like 210 or something.
190. It's actually the same
unit.
price as a Terminator, which is why why you have to really think about it.
Yeah, it was cute when you could shove scent devs into it in the before times. It's just it suffers from being an expensive transport that shooting like it does get the rerolls. I mean, it does get
it does get mission tactics. Yeah.
And it does mortals. I think when you
it does like an average of 2 or 3 mortals if it flies over stuff. Yeah. It's nothing to. No. It's not like the Drakari bomber with its 12 dark lances and its fucking 6 mortal wounds on average kind of bullshit. So
yeah, extremely funny.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe make it cheaper and make it like a skimmer. Like it's a sick model. But
no, it's a fantastic model. Love that model.
The model is
gorgeous.
Hell.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
I was trying to run it in Stormlands after seeing John Lennon's list. I was like, can we do it with the Corvus? No, it doesn't have enough output.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. There were some folks with like owning GTs with Grey Knights before we had our second detachments by dropping a bunch of purifiers like out of a Storm Raven. And it was basically like turn 1 we fly over, we drop like in their like deployment zone and we kill a whole bunch of their stuff and we give them a threat that they have to come deal with. But the Corvus, like, it has the output of like a Razorback Plus, the carrying capacity of a Rhino, has the bombing capacity of an anemic bomber. It's like trying to do way too much, right? Yeah, it has stealth, 100%. Which is cool. Like, that means if you go second, like, you probably won't lose your Corvus immediately on turn 1, and that's kind of neat. But yeah, it does live in aircraft hell. I thought when the first index hit, not the second one, when its carrying capacity was 1 kill team, I thought that was gold. Actually, I thought that was really cool because like you could shove a whole unit in there that otherwise would never fit, but it was thematic as well. So like you just shove an Indom team in there, fly the Corvus up, it like craps out the Indom team. Your other Indom team arrives like with beacon, and that's a lot of early pressure from 2 really big units and 1 other like kind of like shooty flyer. But then they removed that when the second, and it was always kind of talked like people were always like, is that really what they mean? Like, do they mean a whole kill team? Like, do they mean the kill team but no leader?
Exactly.
Like what's, because it wasn't ever clear. And then when the second index hit, they made it very clear. It's basically like, nah, nothing.
You can run like a 5-man. Like,
I think it's like a Rhino or a 10-man with a leader, like a 10-man vet with the Watchmaster will fit in there, but I think that's capacity, if I remember right.
If it could take Dreadnoughts, that'd be interesting too. Like if it was just like a Storm Raven.
Yeah.
But then we're not playing Deathwatch. We're just playing a shittier version of like Gladius or Iron Storm. It's a bummer. Maybe 11th then. I mean, Tiger Shark's got to be good this edition, so did.
Yeah, for a hot, sweaty second. Yeah. And then they're like, well, that wasn't intended.
Oops. What do you mean you read it that way?
Yeah, it has 12 slots. So you could put in a 10-man and the Watchmaster.
Yeah.
And we don't have anything else that can attach to it. So you can do, you can
Ford skill team could go right in, you guys.
There you go. And then you can drop your... Then you can drop your
100-point pinata.
Your 3 Desolators, 5 Hellblasters, and 2. No,
Idiots.
it's 2 Desolators, 5 Hellblasters, 3 Infiltrator, or not Infiltrator. There's so many
Interceptors.
I named.
Oh, I know.
Incursors,
ISSOR.
Infiltrators, Inceptors,
Yeah.
Intercessors.
Suppressors. Yeah.
All right, well, don't see any more questions in chat, so Alex, I'll let you go. Thank you again for being available, man. This was a great stream.
Anytime, man.
We had 2 hours, like, speaking with multiple nerds about some nerdy shit. Absolutely great. So thank you again.
Yeah. Anytime. One of these days I'll actually win a GT, and you'll have a.
Well, one of
have a
these
good headline.
days we should try to find some time to do a TTS game, and I can and I'll stream that. And you can school me, and everyone can laugh, and it'll be great.
That sounds.
And
like
maybe
a great
I'll learn
time.
something. So, yeah.
Sure.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you everybody for showing up. Alex,
Yeah,
do you
thanks,
have
guys.
any plugs? I think we did plugs throughout the stream, but like, like any
support
other
your
plugs?
local community. Yeah, that's about it. Be
Cool.
nice to each other.
There you go.
Call
Be
your parents.
excellent to each other. Yeah. All right, and for everyone else, so down below I have links to my Discord, the Green Knight Discord, the Deathwatch Discord. All are very active communities. You should check those out. And I'll catch you next time. And in the meantime, don't forget to call your parents. Right, Alex?
Yes, sir.